Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Victoria. I did change my title or I don't even know what it's called actually, but the title of my channel to the Christian millennial instead of the modern millennial girl because it's just more fitting to what I'm trying to represent, who I am, and what I post content around. So right now, I'm no longer the modern millennial girl. I'm officially the Christian millennial. It's a small change, but it's more representative of the type of content that I'm sharing. If you are new and you don't know what type of content I share, it's anything surrounded with motherhood, single parenting, because that's the season that I'm in right now, being a millennial and living intentional for Christ, and just raising up two young boys and what that looks like for me. So what I want to represent and what I want to share is for my community of mothers and single moms out there who's just like me, who needs inspiration, encouragement, and all those good stuff. And that's what I'm here to do. If that's what you're interested in and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below and check out my other videos that I post because I work really hard on that and I think that you would like it. So go check them out. I wanted to talk about the topic of finding yourself again because I feel like a lot of adults, as we reach even a new decade in our lives, I am 30 years old now. I turned 30 years old in July and I was feeling a little bittersweet about it. And the reason why I loved stepping into this new decade is because I stepped into a decade where I learned so much from the previous decade. And I had so much to bring into this one to make it even more intentional and not necessarily better, but in some ways better, yes, but that's not what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is intentionally living and learning from whatever my experiences have been. And maybe that's where the topic of finding yourself came from, because there are seasons in our lives where we look back and we're like, I don't do anything for myself anymore. And even as a mother, I'm a mother of two, and I'm 30, I'm a young mom. And a lot of the circles and friendships that I have are with people who are not yet at the life stage that I'm at too. A day in the life of Victoria would look so differently from someone my age without kids, or someone my age who is not living, on their own yet, or someone my age who is not in a relationship. So it's just going to look so different for that person. And it's not because we're not the same age, but it's because the life stage is totally different. So I say all that to say, there are seasons in our lives where we feel like we lose ourselves. And for me, I feel like I lost myself at one point in my life when I had kids, or when I am stressed about something, or when I am trying to reach for a goal that seems so far out there. And I lose myself in the motherhood of things, or trying to be this person for that person, or this person for that. I'm trying so hard to do everything else besides prioritize myself. So the moment I started realizing that about myself, I started trying my best, my very best. And sometimes I'm still working at it. I try to pick up the pieces and cater to that little girl inside of me who once loved art, who once daydreamed about the most random things, or who read and escaped in the words of good books, who felt comfortable in her own skin, and who felt her emotions deeply and loved that about herself. I'm trying to get back to that little girl and speak to that little girl and tell her that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to do the girly things. It's okay to do something that may not look productive to other people, but it is peaceful and beneficial to yourself. So I feel like as adults, we compare ourselves we have to do this, or we have to do something that's productive. And if you have a personality like mine who loves to accomplish things, who's pretty driven and goal oriented, I struggle with that a lot. So one thing that has been interesting lately, and me trying to rediscover myself and my hobbies and stuff, is that as I've become older and more comfortable with myself, I feel like I've become more girlier, if that makes sense. And I don't think that's a coincidence, right? I think that's me finally accepting my vulnerability. That's finally like me accepting that it's okay to cry whenever I feel like it, and just like express my emotions in a better way. Flaws and all, I am accepting and changing and working on and owning, or I am addressing, or I am accepting. And that all takes maturity. It takes you being humble, and it allows you to accept the things that are uniquely you. So my question to you is, have you ever felt that way? Or have you been feeling like that lately? Have you been feeling like you need to find yourself again? Or have you noticed in the course of me talking and what I've been talking about as far as my experiences, that you kind of did lose yourself and you want to get back to a place where you feel like you can do the things that you once loved, right? So here are 5 things that can help you find yourself again and to bring you back to life, basically, when life sometimes violently pulls that away from you, whether that's circumstances or events that happen in your life, or just the course of time and life stages that you're in. The first thing that I would suggest that you do is to find a quiet space to truly process your thoughts. So a lot of times when I sit in silence, or when I like put the kids down to bed, that's like my favorite time of the night, is when I put the kids to bed. I'm like snuggled in my covers and I'm like, okay, I have like a couple hours before I like knock out. I think about stuff and I try to be intentional with that time too, by just like thinking about my day. What could I have done better? But instead of doing that, take some time at night or in the early morning. If you're like me, I love waking up in the morning time too. I'm not so much a night owl. I'm not a night owl at all. I love waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning time and feeling like the whole world is asleep and I am like the only person up. Anyway, find a quiet space or a quiet time or a quiet moment to truly think about what you wish you could do and wish you had the time to do, or wish that you had a moment that you can do something that would make you feel at peace, right? And while you do that, I would also suggest, number 2, to listen to something that forces you to relax, like nature or birds, white noise, brown noise, the ocean, a fireplace, something without words though. And I don't know about you, but when I sit in quiet sometimes, my head goes in a million different directions. Like previous to what I just said, I have time to process, but I'm always thinking about the next thing I could do. I'm always thinking about what I need to do. I always reflect on my day. And while that's okay, when you're trying to process your thoughts and you're trying to see what does Victoria actually want to do, or what do you really want to do, that's when you're really not focusing on yourself. You're focusing on all the things you have to do for everybody else besides yourself. So while you are in this quiet time, I really recommend that you put something on that relaxes you. Waves, the ocean, nature. For me, it's actually nature. The birds or something like that. Like just something that's without noise, that's more like nature focused, if that's your thing, or like white noise or brown noise or something, so that you can truly like think about the stuff that you want to think about and not have all these invasive thoughts being thrown at you. So while you are in that space, in that quiet space, while you have that nature or brown noise or whatever it is that you're listening to, I know some people aren't into journaling, but I really highly recommend you to like journal your thoughts, because if you're like me and you have severe like mom brain, you will not remember the things that you're thinking about, or it will come as easily as it goes as far as your thoughts. So start journaling how you feel. You don't have to necessarily journal or write it down. If you are an artist, maybe draw it out or do something mindless to help you think. But I would want you to definitely get on paper somehow, so that when you forget it, you look back at it and you're like, that's how I felt in that moment. So just something to help you record your feelings in some way. Journal those down and remember to focus on you. Focus on what you need to truly refresh and you know, like renew yourself to be a better person for others. Because essentially, we're not doing this just for us. We're doing this to care for our kids better. We're doing this to care for our spouse and our partners better. And that takes work inside of us too, not just us giving from an empty cup. So journal those thoughts. Here are some journal prompts that I looked up to help guide your thoughts a little bit. And I thought they were pretty good ones. So I'm going to list them right here. What gets me excited to wake up in the morning? When I think of the impact I want to make, I think about doing. What is the most important thing to me in my life? When do I feel the most alive? When do I feel the most safe? Make a list of things that bring you joy. What do I want to be remembered for? How can I make the world a better place? You can also make a list of things that energizes you. What brings me fulfillment in my life currently? And finally, pray for clarity and guidance. Don't do anything, and I mean anything, without inviting God to address these things, your heart and your needs. We know that our hearts are deceitful. We know that our minds are double-minded. And so it's so important to invite God in the things that we think we want, that we think we desire, that we think we're being called to. So that's probably the most important point, to invite God in all that we do. But it is also important to sit, think, and process what we truly want, and then filter it out through Jesus. All right, guys, that's the end of my video. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that those prompts have prompted you to at least think about some things that you can find yourself back to loving again, can help you just achieve a more fulfilling and joyous life, and more intentional in focusing on yourself, not as a selfless act, but to fill your cup up so that you can be able to be a blessing unto other people. So I hope that I convinced you to sit down and to prioritize yourself a little bit, to at least, at the very least, to think about yourself and your needs and what you need to recharge and be there for your family, right? I hope I wasn't rambling. I always do this in like every single one of my videos, so I feel like I just sit here and just ramble. But I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are surrounding this topic and what you have done to prioritize yourself, especially as a mom. I'm curious. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time in the next one. Bye, guys. This is Gabriel. He's 6 years old. Say hi to everyone, Gabriel.
Hi.
What did you want to say to the people?
I love you.
Oh, you love them?
Yes.
Yes. Gabriel's going to first grade in September. How do you feel about that?
Good.
Good. Any other thoughts?
Chicken wing.
Chicken wing? Okay, great. All right, bye, guys.